Well, folks, Kerry Lake, as we all know, is still challenging the results of last year's Arizona gubernatorial election in court. And this past Thursday, you had Maricopa County Superior Court Judge John Hanna in a court hearing, and Kerry Lake again trying to overturn the election results, just immediately dismissed the first three witnesses that Kerry Lake's legal team tried to call because, as the judge said, they were unqualified. Like, why are you bringing these people into my courtroom? This is embarrassing. They have no evidence. They have no expertise. These are not people who anybody should be listening to. Of course, the judge didn't actually say it that way. Here's what happened. At Thursday's hearing in Arizona, Lake's attorney Brian Blem sought to have the state release ballot envelopes signed by approximately 1.3 million voters. But the hearing got off to a rocky start when the judge deemed two of Lake's witnesses, forensic document analyst Spec and software consultant Chris Hansel, irrelevant. The judge then took aim at witness Shelby Bush, who participated in a voting audit conducted by the Cyber Ninjas firm. On this one, I'm inclined to go a step further because she's so obviously a medical office manager. I mean, she's so obviously unqualified that I kind of find a need to make a finding about that, as well as that her testimony is irrelevant. I mean, she's not even in the ballpark, the judge said. Like, that was the actual quote from the judge. That's a little bit worse than even what I had said in kind of paraphrasing him. But this judge is basically like, why are you bringing these wackos into my courtroom? And maybe they're not wackos, but like, why are you bringing these irrelevant people into my courtroom? Like, you just going down on the street corner and getting any passerby and being like, hi, you're a witness now. There you go. Take the stand. Tell everybody I won, damn it. Because apparently that's kind of what the judge thinks is happening here. But Kerry Lake, obviously, is not one to have her spirits crushed by the courts. And immediately after this humiliating defeat in court on Thursday, reports immediately started swirling that Kerry Lake is preparing to launch her Senate campaign for Arizona. So even as she continues to challenge the gubernatorial race in court, even as she continues to get humiliated every time they go to court, she's still in the background over here like, okay, well, I'm going to run for Senate now. Which, by the way, if you're running for Senate, isn't that kind of like a concession that you definitely lost that gubernatorial race? You do realize, dumbass, that this is going to be used against you in court. They're going to be like, why are you running for Senate if you won? If you actually thought you won, you wouldn't be running for Senate. So go ahead and make your idiotic little announcement, Kerry, because it's going to come back and probably be the final legal nail in the coffin for all of these lawsuits that you have filed. And of course, with her announcement that she is going to run for Senate, which at this point could be any day now, Republicans in Arizona are freaking out. They don't want her there. They believe that she has, of course, tarnished her reputation to the point where she cannot win a statewide national election. But Kerry Lake keeps pointing to polls that show, hey, we're competitive in this race. We're neck and neck with Gallego, only when Kirsten Sinema, of course, is added into the mix. If Sinema doesn't run, Gallego's got this thing on lockdown if Kerry Lake is his opponents. That's what the polls show. But Kerry Lake, as I said, keeps pointing to those polls, and it's important to point out that those polls are from April and May. And she's suffered a lot of humiliation since then. So I'm willing to bet those polls aren't as kind to her as they had been, right? But she keeps promoting them, saying that she has a chance. She believes she has a chance. Republican strategists in Arizona do not believe she has a chance. But it is what it is. And of course, that brings us back to the election challenge lawsuits, because the only reason these lawsuits exist is to keep her stupid name in the headlines so that voters even remember who she is when she runs for Senate. If she had just conceded her gubernatorial loss last November, she'd have disappeared. She would have been just another in a long list of failed Republican candidates. You know, political also-rans, as we call them. Everybody would have forgotten about her. She wouldn't have had the standing in the Republican Party to run for Senate in the first place. So she files these election challenges. Obviously, we've all been, not just me, the whole media apparatus, conservative and liberal, have been talking about her for the past year because of her idiotic election challenges. And maybe we fed into that. Maybe we shouldn't have done that, but, she's making false claims. We got to debunk them. But that's the reason she did it. It was to stay relevant, to keep her name out there, to get invited to all these speaking events at these Republican conferences. Because if she had just conceded that race, she would have disappeared into obscurity, and none of us would have to be talking about her today. And that is the thing that she fears the most. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.